What is up, Waffle Gang? I do hope you are well. My name is Mark, and today we're checking out some r/am I the butthole. And if you love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's dive straight into today's first story. Now, today's first story comes from number 647458834, who says, "Am I the arsehole for believing the housekeeper over my son?" We hired a housekeeper that comes over several times a week to get the house clean since my husband and I are busy with work. We have two kids, Jeremy 16 and Raya 14. Now, Jeremy is a jokester. He likes pulling pranks on everyone in the house, and that included the housekeeper. He did stuff like throw her purse, hide her wallet, and got punished for it and then told not to do it again because our housekeeper almost quit and we didn't want that. Now onto the situation. Some days ago, I got a call from Jeremy while he was having friends over, telling me he saw the housekeeper sneak some of my jewelry into her purse and asked me to come home immediately. I freaked out and tried to call my husband, but he didn't pick up. I went home and was mad. I talked to the housekeeper and she denied putting anything in her purse. I demanded to see her purse and my jewelry was there. The housekeeper started swearing on her children that she didn't put it in there and had no idea how it got there. I believed her and figured Jeremy had something to do with it given his history. I switched my attention towards him and had him explain to me exactly how he saw our housekeeper do it. He told me that he saw, but a friend of his came forward and said he saw Jeremy put the jewelry inside the lady's purse and was trying to get her in trouble. Jeremy yelled at his friend and told me it was one of his pranks, but I was furious. I kicked the rest of his friends who covered for him out and I punished him hard and apologized to the housekeeper. My husband reacted unexpectedly after he heard and said I was wrong for choosing to believe the housekeeper over our son, even though there was a witness, but he said his friend must have said this to get him in trouble or because the housekeeper paid him to side with her, which was shockingly absurd of him to say. He said I was not being a good mother, and my first instinct is always to believe my son in whatever he says and never question him in front of his friends like that. I'm confused. Did I mess up? Absolutely not the arsehole at all for believing the housekeeper, because it's clear it was him in the first place. And his air quotes prank nearly cost someone their job. And let's face it, it's not a prank. He's bullying someone else for his and his friend's amusement, even though one of the friends clearly did not agree with it and told on him, which was the correct thing to do. And what is it with your husband saying, you shouldn't have called him out in front of his friends? Hell yes, you should have. Maybe it'd make him sit back and think about how his actions are incredibly shitty. That's irresponsible, and it's messed up as well to think about. This is what Jeremy thinks is okay to do to other people. This is a 16-year-old. I'd be worried about his future if this is what he thinks is okay. But we're going to cover some of those comments before we move on. From Mel122676, who says, "Not the arsehole. Your son doesn't pull pranks. He is a mean bully." Then Housekeeper Game replies that saying, "Yep, my parents did this with my older sister. The results were not good. We told them for years my sister was mean and abusive. They did little to correct it, and instead we got called sensitive. It became abundantly clear that my parents weren't going to protect us, so we stopped telling them. Eventually we reacted to her meanness and we got in trouble. My sister hasn't had the best adult life and we don't have a relationship with her. My parents in adulthood apologized to us for not doing more to protect us, which was nice to hear, but too little, too late. I have all kinds of mental issues now. So does my little sister." Gina says, "Your housekeeper needs to straight up quit. Holy shit. You've allowed her to be bullied and abused by your son, who your husband is deliberately turning into a spoiled and entitled brat. Not the arsehole for believing your housekeeper, but you didn't believe her over your son. You let him accuse her, questioned her, and the only reason that she's really off the hook here is because your son has a friend who's slightly less of an arsehole than he is, who came forward. There's something deeply wrong with your family dynamic, and I really hope that your housekeeper removes herself from it ASAP." And that is a very, very good point there as well. Not Yours says, "House cleaner here. This is horrific. We already take so much pride in our clients trusting us enough to be in their homes and personal spaces. Your son has issues that require serious therapy. This is not a joke or a prank. This is something that would have cops involved, could ruin your cleaner's personal and business reputation and cause legal action against them. Not the arsehole, and honestly, cleaners already deal with enough. We scrub crusted shit off the sides of toilets. Your son needs to have respect. Start making him and your husband clean the damn house until they can respect who comes in and does it for you. Username 52 says, not the arsehole. As a good mother, your instinct should be to raise your kids to be responsible adults, not to believe everything they say. Jeremy is cruel and hiding behind pranks. The housekeeper is very lucky that Jeremy's friend was honest, and he's a brave kid for being honest about it. Your husband is just going to keep enabling Jeremy. And Carissa says, but your first instinct was to believe your son. Not the arsehole, but if I were the housekeeper, I'd resign if circumstances permit. And yeah, I think some people had some very good points in that story, that initially she came in and wanted to look through someone else's purse because they didn't believe them, and then only switched when the friend said. So yeah, it's a tricky one, that actually. But for the initial question, believing the housekeeper over my son, yeah, you wouldn't be the arsehole for that, but like people said, you didn't really believe the housekeeper first. Anyway, let me know your thoughts on this story and we'll move on to the next one. And our next story comes from Jemmy44, who asks, am I the arsehole for hiding embarrassing notes in my house as a joke because I know my fiance's mum snoops? I bought a house 7 years ago and I met my fiance, Al, 4 years ago. This year he moved in. We're talking about making it a home for both of us. But as for now, he hasn't moved much stuff in. Right now, 95% of the stuff and furniture in the house is mine. When his mum comes over, she's kind of a snoop. He was used to that, but when she comes to our house, it's so uncomfortable because she's just going through my shit. When I am bothered, she's like, I was just helping with chores, etc. He says I should just let her because she has a lot of nervous energy. One thing she snooped on was actually embarrassing. In my home office, I had a little affirmation post-it note on my monitor saying, I am smart, I am skilled, I am deserving of great things. It was a silly thing my therapist recommended to get me in a confident mindset before an interview. Anyway, she made a comment about my ego, but as a joke I decided to do it again. Had my best friend over and we got wine drunk and wrote a bunch of affirmations to hide. Some were, in the medicine cabinet, my teeth will regrow. I am shark-like and powerful. Kitchen drawers. I know where to spoon, but I also know where to fork. I am sexy and self-assured. Work desk. I will not just fuck my way to the top of the company. I will fuck my way to the top of the world. Amazing. Walk-in closet. I am beautiful with clothes and without, especially without. My boobs are legendary. There were a bunch more, I wish we heard him, and my friend and I had a hilarious time writing them. Next time my mother-in-law came over, she saw a few, and she didn't acknowledge them to me even though she definitely started acting a little weird about me. I went to run some errands, and when I was out, she confronted Al about the notes and was trying to tell him that I seemed unstable, egotistical, and moving in was a bad idea. She showed him the notes and he didn't really know what to make of it. He asked me and I said they were just some silly private notes to boost my self-confidence and make myself laugh. How had she gotten them? Had she been going through my things? He said she was just tidying and saw them and they were real weird. I was like, have you met me? You should know how weird I am. Anyway, if you don't want your mum seeing my weird shit, you've got to stop letting her go through my shit. He asked if I left them on purpose to annoy her, and I admitted that was kind of the joke, but I also have other weird or private shit, so what I said about her needing to stop snooping if she didn't want to find her weird crap was still for real. He said I was making stuff hard for him. His mum was really protective and adjusting to him moving in with a girlfriend for the first time, and I was agitating her on purpose and making her think I wouldn't be a good partner, when he wanted her to have the opposite impression of me. Am I the arsehole for the note prank? Absolutely not the arsehole, and I think you should do more because they were absolutely hilarious. You know, this isn't a hard boundary to follow. Just don't go through my stuff. As simple as. Your mother shouldn't be doing that anyway, and the son should be sticking up for it. I couldn't imagine if my mum, bless her, if she was here, she would never go through my stuff. It just doesn't make sense. Even when I lived at home, she wouldn't go through my stuff. I'm trying to put myself in your shoes, standing in your house and just seeing some mother-in-law wandering around opening drawers and having a look through, pretending that she's tidying. I mean, why is she going into this drawer to tidy for? I don't know. And again, like the last story, it's another one about someone enabling someone else, saying, oh no, it's just her doing her thing, making sure that I'm okay. And before we do move on to the comments in this one, I just wanted to give you a little blooper that happened halfway through this story. I posted on Twitter and I said, do you want to hear what happened? And basically I was reading halfway through the story when I felt like a little tickle on my chin. I was like, what the hell is that? And I leant back and there's a fucking spider on my microphone. So quick warning, picture a spider coming up, skip about 5 seconds if you want to. And here's that blooper before we have the comments. I had a little affirmation post-it note on my monitor saying, I am smart, I am skilled, I am fuck shit in hell. Spider on the microphone. The spider is safely back in its web up in the corner there. But Auntie Fascist says, not the arsehole, she's snooping through your home. I'd have gone further and left little notes like, nobody likes a snoop and you aren't welcome to go through my things. But yours were pretty damn funny. It's a red flag your fiancé needs to stand up for her invading your privacy like this. OP replies to that saying, lol, I was thinking of a set of butt plugs increasing in size to the absurd would be pretty funny, but pointed notes could be too. I like OP's way of thinking. Yeah, I feel so frustrated because he was okay with her doing it in his apartment because she actually would help with laundry and dishes and he appreciated that. But in my house it's different because it's not his stuff there. It's not even our stuff. It's 95% my stuff because I've lived there for 7 years and furnished it and bought everything. And he moved in after selling his furniture and only bringing a closet full of things and some gadgets. So when she's going through the house, it's not his stuff or even shared stuff. She's just going through my shit. And I'm not really cool with that because I just don't want guests helping with my laundry or looking for my dirty mugs. I think on the not funny side of things, I might just sit her down and say I've lived alone for 6 years. I live in a way that makes my home feel like a home. And part of that is not keeping anything but the living room and guest room presentable for guests. So I'm uncomfortable with her as my guest going into the other rooms without asking or looking at my stuff. GW2K Pro says, not the arsehole. Don't ask Al's mum to stop going through your shit. Tell her she's not allowed to go through your shit, ever. If that doesn't sit well, maybe she won't come over anymore. Either way, you win. That Cry 35 says and quotes, walk-in closet, I am beautiful with my clothes and without, especially without, my boobs are legendary. Then goes on to say, the kind of energy I needed today, not the arsehole. Also, it's really creepy Al's mum is looking through all your stuff and then Al saying it's just what she does. Like, what is she looking for? Why does it not bother him that his mother is finding stuff in his fiance's house and telling me about it, all shocked and disturbed, as if what she's doing is any less shocking and disturbing? Oberdictor says, not the arsehole. Don't marry the guy who can't set the simple boundary with his mum of don't snoop through the house. He's choosing his mum over you. Urson Black says, not the arsehole. Al's mum is a snoop and deserves whatever agitation she gets from your notes. Al should support you in maintaining your privacy in your home. And one more comment from your mum Infinity who says, not the arsehole. Your house, you put what you like where. The next time this woman comes over to your house, sit her down and tell her, you're not allowed to snoop through my shit. If she wanders off somewhere, you follow her and remind her, you're not allowed to snoop through my shit. Leave a bunch of notes around reminding her, you're not allowed to snoop through my shit. If your boyfriend has a problem with his mother not being allowed to snoop through your shit, tell him, your mother is not allowed to snoop through my shit. Now, what do you guys make of this one? What note would you leave for mother-in-law in those drawers? Let me know in the comments below and we'll move on to the next story. And our next story is from Thrillville1304 who asks, am I the arsehole for enforcing my house rules on my wife's brother? My male 30 brother-in-law, male 20 Sean, moved in with me and his sister after my father-in-law passed away a few months ago. He is the private type and keeps to himself. He goes out and never says where he's going or how long he'll be out. Eats at random times during the day, wears earbuds while me and the kids are sitting with him. See, all of these are uncool behaviours and a bad influence on my children. I've already talked to Sean about certain house rules I have and how he was violating them. Maybe because he didn't, but now he knows and still nothing's changed. Last night he came home late around 10 PM. I wasn't thrilled with that because he knew the rules, but he said that he was an adult and I shouldn't be policing him. But it's not about that, it's about the fact that he's repeatedly disrespect the homeowner and the rules. So I told him this: if he won't respect the rules, which are being at home at 8, not eating at random times, and not using his electronics, just like my kids aren't allowed when the family is gathered to spend time together. He ranted about how he wasn't a child, my child, and called me unreasonable to treat him this way just because he lives under my roof. I told him it's not hard to show respect, really, but my wife went off asking what was wrong with me to be giving Sean, who's still grieving, ultimatums and treating him like a child. I explained to her that I'm just making sure the kids won't be influenced by her brother's reckless behaviour, and she laughed, asking if I think Sean being on his phone was reckless, but that is besides the point. She called me a control freak and told me to get off her brother's back and leave him alone. I replied that she's just saying this because he's her brother, but she said I overstepped and should back off and stop trying to control her adult brother. I asked her if she was happy with him coming home late, and she said she was sick of arguing, then went upstairs. Am I the arsehole here? Oh boy. What a house to be in. And I just thought, the first thought that came into my head as I was reading this, what if any other adults come over, or adult relatives, even friends, and they came over to stay? Would you have these rules for them too? You can't go out, it's past 8 PM. It's lockdown time in this house. Or the person sat on their phone in the living room while the rest of the family's all sat around and, hey, get off your phone, it's socializing time. Let's face it, you just wouldn't do it to other adults in your house like that. Maybe you would, which would make you even more the arsehole. But yes, of course you're going to be the arsehole in this situation. That's an adult. But potentially Knox says you're the arsehole. Your wife is right. Why on earth should a 20-year-old have a curfew and have his eating times policed? Also, you made a unilateral decision about your wife's brother without even consulting your wife. You sound already like an overbearing parent, and this is towards an adult who isn't your kid. I feel horrible for your wife and kids. Shastami says, try this parenting tactic. Hey kids, if you're wondering why Sean doesn't have to obey the rules that you do, it's because he's an adult and not my child. When you're an adult, you'll get to come home later than 8 PM too. You're the arsehole. Bacon, Egg and Cheese SPK says you're the arsehole. Giving an adult a curfew of 8 is insane, as is trying to dictate when he eats. Wearing AirPods at the table is rude, but I completely understand why I'd want to tune you out, so he gets a pass on that. Why are you trying to parent a fully grown adult? Primary Criticism 929 says you're the arsehole. You are not his parent, you are not his guardian. He's 20 years old and is not doing anything wrong. Get over yourself, stop wanting to control him. Would you have the same rules if your parents were coming to stay with you? Cake Eating Rabbit says you're the arsehole. To me this sounds like I don't want her brother here, but I can't say that, so I'll just make up other stuff. Your children witness behaviour they aren't allowed to participate in all day long. Do you not drive because your children can't? Do you never ever drink a glass of wine or a beer in front of them because they can't? I get that his use of electronics is a bit rude, but telling an adult guest when to be home, when to eat and so on is controlling. I Like Seals a Lot says you're the arsehole. This isn't only your household, but your wife's too. Your brother-in-law is still grieving and it is not unreasonable for an adult to ask not to have a curfew or eat when he is hungry. He can make those decisions himself and you are overstepping trying to enforce this. The earbuds while eating I get, but he just seems stressed out. Staying out till 10 is not unusual for a 20-year-old and not at all reckless behaviour. You are treating him like a child. Also, your children aren't learning any reckless behaviour. They learn that you are insanely controlling and will continue to do so well into their adulthood. You should reflect on that here. He's an adult and you are on a power trip. Do you stick to all those rules yourself? Because I sure hope you do. And one more which says those children must fear this man. He is policing everything about their life. There is a difference between parenting and policing. What OP is doing is going to lead to a lot of anxiety and resentment on his children's part. Also, this will likely negatively impact his marriage. How will his wife feel when she knows she failed her brother when he needed her the most? And to know that it was because of her stubborn husband? OP, you really need to reevaluate your views on parenting and as a partner, or it will likely come back and bite you in the ass in 10, maybe 20 years. Divorce or fractured marriage and alienated children will likely be in your future if you do not reevaluate and improve as a person. Now, what do you guys make of this one? Whilst I can understand, the earbuds thing, maybe, like some people said, maybe being a bit rude at some situations, like at the dinner table or whatever. But some of the others to an adult just seems insane to me. But what do you guys make of this one? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Now, a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting involved today. Your likes, subscribes, your love, support, time, everything you do is absolutely amazing. Supporting on YouTube by clicking that join button down below, or clicking the link in the description, heading on over to Patreon, join up there, really helps out the channel. Never any pressure to do so. That's the last thing I want. You just spending your time with me is more than enough, way more than enough. So thank you so much, and I will see you, you cheeky so-and-so, in the next one. No spiders on this mic, is there? Much love.